let's do this then.
She shall not be moved. She
Shall not be moved.
By Black Ginger Productions and Stuff Puffin Productions. Set in a modern-day witch trial, this piece is a meditation on what it means to be a woman, the challenges we face, and how they shape us into the women we become. So this will be at the Space on the Mile, which is on the High Street, in Space 3. And this run will be August the 19th to the 24th at 11:10. And it's 1 hour, and it's £10 tickets with £8 concession tickets.
And we're starting with this one because you're in it.
I'm in it. And I've worked with one of the directors and co-writers before on Nothing, which was 2 years ago.
Jesus.
I know. No, last year.
No.
Was it last year?
Last year. No,
Sorry,
a year ago.
Last year. Gosh, that went fast. And then also the other two directors and co-writers were helping me with the rehearsals last year. So I've worked with all of them before, and it's all female. So it should be really interesting. And yeah, come along. I'll see you there. We'll go for a drink.
I helped crowdfunding a bit again this year, so I'm curious to see how it goes, all that.
Yes, exactly.
So hello there. So this is a brand new style of episode. So in case it's the first time you see or hear from us, know that we are...
Oh, the Good, the Bad, and the Just Plain Standard podcast.
Yeah, I was waiting for your names, but that's...
Oh, right, okay.
We are...
Adam.
Anouk.
And Yann. We met at drummer school 3 years ago. We trained together for a year, stayed in contact, and we launched this podcast, The Good, the Bad, and the Just Plain Standard, in August 2017. And we are discussing movies, sometimes theatre and video games and TV series soon. All of that on a mostly weekly basis. We are have been flatmates for a year now, which simplifies things a lot. Brand new style of episode, I said, so let's go. A preamble, if it's a word in English. I'll start by saying this. If we get additional footage after the episode goes live, you will find these videos as YouTube playlists in the description, or as title cards in the video when possible. We will also put all the booking links with time, location, price as a blog post on our website, and put the link also in the description. So, for 2 years now, we've been doing a yearly Edfringe episode after the facts. This time we are trying something new. We'll talk to you about some friends, colleagues of ours who were or not on our podcast at some point. And by the way, in case you don't know, Edfringe stands for Edinburgh Festival Fringe, which has been occurring yearly more than 70 times. It is the sibling of the Edinburgh International Festival, which occurs at the same time in the same city. The Fringe is the biggest festival of that sort in the world, with more than 50,000 performances of 3,500 shows in around 300 venues. Ticket issued in 2018, more than 2.8 million. Whereas the standard international one only has around 200 performances. So now we can say hi to Mark, who will talk to you about his shows. I'll see you in a couple of minutes, so I think it's 4 or something. See you in a bit. So I watched this incredible, obscure German movie, from the 20s, and I saw some very interesting angles. So I'm trying to experiment with some weird angles. I think we can start the interview like that. So who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm Mark Westbrook. I'm the studio director at Acting Coach Scotland, and you're in my office.
Yeah, I think that's a great angle. So I'm sorry I didn't get that. Who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm Mark Westbrook. I'm the studio director at Acting Coach Scotland, and you're lying on my office floor.
Oh, hello there.
Hi.
I ask the same question I ask all our guests. Who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm Mark Westbrook, and you're in my office. I'm the studio director at Acting Coach Scotland.
Great. So you have, since 2016, when I trained to your studio, you are bringing every year 2 shows at the Fringe. So what are the plays that you are bringing this year at the Fringe? Where? And all that nice stuff.
Okay. Well, this year it's 3 shows. This year we've broken our project down into three casts, 1 company with 3 shows. And the first show is Walls and Bridges. It's a play about the East German uprising in 1953. It's a rewriting under the same title of a play by my colleague Nick, who had written a play 2 years ago called Walls and Bridges. And I love the title so much, and I'm having my own exploration through some of the issues that Nick explored, and I'm setting it in socialist East Germany, at a time that people don't really know very much about. Most people have never heard of this uprising, but in essence, you can imagine that it's the beginning of the fall of the Berlin Wall 36 years later. The second show is called Leopold Vindictive. It's written by a former student from last year, Cecile Durrell, and it's based on the secret pigeon service. It's about how the Belgian resistance used pigeons to send valuable information about what was happening in this particular part of Belgium. And the third show is called Chaika, First Woman in Space, which I wrote, which is about Valentina Tereshkova, First Woman in Space, and Chaika, which means seagull, which was her code name, and it's about exploring how she got into space. I mean, she's still alive, she's 82, she's had a fascinating life, and we're having one snapshot of that life. The shows are on at the Carlton Hilton on Northbridge in Edinburgh. It's a wonderful, wonderful venue. We adore it and we'll return there many years, I think. The shows start at 1:20, so there's 1:20, 2:20, 3, and they're on every day from the 2nd of August till the end of the Fringe, but there are no Sundays. Apparently people have to have a day off. Not my idea, but and yeah, tickets are selling really well at the moment. So it would be, if you want to come and see these shows, it is time to get your tickets.
Hey, so well, thank you, Mark, for this. So Acting Coach Scotland is the drama school I talked about earlier and where we trained. In terms of episodes with friends who trained with us at ACS or who also graduated from ACS, I can point you to some of our former episodes. The Edfringe 2017, we had Alistair, who trained the year after us.
Episode 2, I think.
Brave Emma, who trained with us. Super Mario Odyssey and A Good Year, aka Shit-Faced Podcasting episode. Laura L. Watson. Suffragette with Molly. High Fidelity with PJ. And Edfringe 2018 with Mary and James. Also, the frame should start to be crowded by pictures of us on stage at the Fringe in 2016, if I've done things correctly before you get there. And now, a nice video from Rov Street Productions from Cecile and Victoria.
Aww.
That's it.
Okay, are you ready? Cecile? Are you ready?
Yes.
Cecile, what are you doing?
I'm visualizing my dinner. It helps me.
Okay, could you maybe just, sit here with me, get ready, we have this video to film, then you can eat dinner all you want.
Yes.
Right? So what is this?
This is a...
What is this mess? asked you to clean the couch while I set up the camera. That was the deal. It's fine. You know what? Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for listening to us. We're here. We're here to talk to you about our Fringe shows this year.
We are Rove Street Productions. This is Victoria.
Hello. This is Cecile.
Thank you.
And we're really, really excited to be taking 2 shows to the Fringe this year that we think are some pretty amazing shows that you should come see.
Yeah, we're taking our 2 newly written shows to the Hilton Hotel at 5:30 p.m. every weekday for the whole run of the Fringe, really, from the 2nd of August to the 24th, and there will be 1 show on each day that will alternate, and that is the physicalization of alternating. Gotta stop talking now.
You took everything.
I took everything.
I don't know what to say now. I have nothing left to say.
The title of the shows may be what the shows are about.
Okay.
Who's in them.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. So, the first show is called Hello, Hello. It is a drama about mental health. What?
But I'm presenting your show and you're presenting my show.
But I wrote something about my show. I spent a lot of time on it.
No,
It's
Victoria, we've talked about. We said you should present mine and I present yours so that it looks like we're a team.
okay. Maybe we should stop recording and you can, you know,
you edit it out. Okay?
just thinking you should take some time to memorize, you know, the blurb I wrote about my play.
I think I
Say-
know what your play's about. Okay.
Just pick some nice words. Fine, whatever. Just do it.
Our first show is a wonderful drama written by Victoria J. Valier, which is called Hello, Hello, or Everything I Ever Wanted to Tell You.
That is
the title.
She's even starring in it, and she can't remember.
Did I remember? I think I did remember.
Okay, you did remember.
Beautiful drama about a young woman challenged by her mental health and finally finding the courage to reach out and ask for help. And it's a beautiful journey of someone managing to break out of their old habits, free themselves from their demons, and finding help in the most unexpected ways. Is that okay?
Yes, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Our second show is a delightful comedy by Cecile Durrell called There Is No Problem Here. It takes your favorite Disney characters, but the side characters, the servants in the castle at the Beast's place and the carpet from Aladdin, the characters who don't get their own story. It takes them backstage in their common room, living through their own stories, becoming the heroes of their own stories. And it may be a comedy, but it's filled with heart.
What does that mean? It may be a comedy, but
It was actually a really nice sentence.
no,
Cecile.
you could say it's a comedy and it's filled with heart.
Okay, I think it's because you're French. It may be is a nice. It's
feel
right.
like-
It's nice. It's a nice flowing way to speak.
It's a great comedy.
It's a great comedy.
It's very funny.
It's great.
But we sing.
You will laugh.
You might. So both our shows are on from the 2nd of August until the 24th at 5:35 at the Hilton Hotel Northbridge.
Yes.
And
Venue
you-
36.
Venue 36.
You can
will
see
be
each show
able-
every other day.
Every other day.
Hello, hello on the odd days.
And there is no problem here on even days. Yeah, I think that's it.
I think that is
so
it.
much. Thank you
I
so
think we
much
should
for listening.
retake that.
I don't think we should. I think that was perfect.
Well, you can decide.
Hey, it's us again. So it's I'm starting to wonder because you heard in Mark's video, Leopold Vindictive was also written by Cecile. So when I went to film the video with him, so essentially I'm pretty sure that Cecile must have written half of the shows at the Fringe this year or so.
She's amazing.
Yeah. I did contribute a bit to their crowdfunding, the Rove Street, so I'll actually join their rap party at the end of August.
Ooh.
Oh, very cool.
Yes. And Cecile is the guest in our The Wing or the Thigh episode, which will be the next episode coming after this, out very soon.
Jesus.
That's Adam's trauma
Yeah, that is
episode.
You know what? I said to Yann the other day, I'm like, it'd be funny if I watched that film again and I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
Because at the time I hated it.
And you really did.
I haven't decided if the outrage afterwards of watching the initial screening is going in the episode or not. Maybe a bit of it.
Absolutely dreadful.
But
It should.
yeah, it was that was an experience. So
in terms of friends that we had, so I talked about Mary. So we should have a video from her. If we don't, I'll just talk briefly. So it's a play called Daffodils. It's on from the 20th to the 24th, so not that many days, at 1:30 p.m. at the Royal Scots Club, and Mary is producing and directing. Now, artists I've seen and trust, and I'm going to see them again this year. Emily's video. Now.
Hi, I'm Emily Carding, and previous Edfringe shows that I've performed have been Richard III, a one-woman show, and Hamlet, an experience, where I met Yann last year. Both shows involve audience participation, and Yann was my Polonius, and had previously been Polonius for the Drunken Shakespeare lot. So thank you, Yann, for your Polonius, and thank you for asking me to be on your podcast. So this year I'm really excited. I'm bringing 2 new solo shows, which, although they're both inspired by Shakespeare, are not straight Shakespearean adaptations. Firstly, I have Quintessence, which I wrote myself, which just won the Fringe Review Outstanding Theatre Award at Brighton Fringe. It's a sci-fi solo show which imagines a far future in which humanity have wiped themselves out, and an AI being has been left behind to reconstruct humanity using the complete works of Shakespeare as a guide to what the human spirit is. And through various experiments, they come to an interesting moral conclusion, which will leave you thinking at the end. And there's a twist at the end as well, but I don't want to spoil everything. So here's the trailer.
Oh, brave new world that has such people in it! One, to be. 0, not to be. A binary question. Exist or not exist. Thrive or do not thrive. Humanity must thrive. Why would you choose not to? The beauty of the world. The paragon of animals. And yet, to me, what is this quintessence of dust? What is this quintessence of dust?
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax.
Dust from the earth. Dust from the stars. But what is quintessence?
The second show that I'm bringing to Edfringe this year is Caliban's Codex, written by John Knowles. It's an adaptation of The Tempest, but it's new writing, so it's a postscript to The Tempest. It tells the whole story of The Tempest from Caliban's perspective. It basically tells the story of his whole life, so it goes from before The Tempest, through the events of The Tempest, and then looks at what happens afterwards. And he is piecing together the remains of Prospero's books in order to learn Prospero's magic for himself, so that he can protect his island from the ravages of mankind. So really there's an environmental message there too. Here's the trailer.
I have seen the skeletal remains of seabirds, stomachs filled with fish-like trinkets, the seas awash with false jellyfish glittering with your fleeting passions. I've seen whales beached and bloated, guts exploded on the shore, filled with junk. Well, I will not let unkind man make this a grave for his unreasonable needs. fish nor fetching, firing gap requiring nor scrape trencher nor water fish. Ban, ban, Kakali ban! As a new master, get a new man. Freedom! Heyday! Freedom! Freedom! Heyday! Freedom!
Both shows are suite productions, and so obviously both are at suite venues. They're both at Suite Novotel 1, and Quintessence is on at 1:20, and Caliban's Codex will be on at 7:15. From the 12th to the 25th of August. I'm not doing Wednesdays. I have one day off to try and catch everybody else's shows. So tickets are £10 or £8 for concessions. Really hope to see you there. I'm really looking forward to seeing as much as I can as well this year. It's going to be really exciting. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, it's us again. So Emily says she's taking some days off this year to go see other shows, which is awesome because I asked her if she would want to be in the show at some point. And she said, yeah, of course. So I've investigated possibilities and I'll see if I can book an Edinburgh recording studio for a couple of hours a week or something to record short podcast episodes this year.
Jesus.
Starting with Emily. Well, this is an idea in the air. Might not happen at all or in a less ambitious capacity, but well. It will be quite fascinating to talk to her because also because she's into tarot cards.
Oh.
Like she designed her own deck and stuff. If you've listened to our episodes with magician guests, you can search Maddie Gilbert, R. Paul Wilson, and Maximiliano Francis Girola in our back catalogue. If you listen to those, you know that I've been in love with illusionism, prestidigitation, and mentalism for many years. So, tarot, astrology, and the likes, I'm not a believer. However, this is all fascinating to me, so I'd be delighted to speak to Emily about that too in an episode.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about Emily in our Edfringe 2018 episode already, but I'll reiterate here because it's rather unusual to have that type of connection, I would say. First of all, I always wanted to do one-man Hamlet, so I'm not the only one with that specific crazy idea in mind. Last year, I booked Hamlet an experience twice, but I was a bit shy and scared and struggled to find the venue anyway, and I arrived like 3 minutes before showtime on the first day of the run, so I didn't get in. I went on the last day of the run, though. Funnily enough, between those two dates, I went to see Filth, the one-man show, and I noticed Emily was in the room watching the show too. And even weirder, a cousin of hers, Maria, visited my mum's vineyard not so long after that. While I was actually in said vineyard, which should be mentioned because now that I live here in Glasgow, I'm probably in Provence less than 2 months per year. So
That's so weird.
Wow.
yeah, her Hamlet was definitely one of the highlights of my 2018 Fringe. I know Polonius so well that I essentially was using some lines that were not in her script. Because the whole principle is she's playing Hamlet and she hands scripts to people, so that can be a whole kind of a workshop-y kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was using lines from the character, but not in the script. And then I realized how she actually switched things around and rewrote the play to fit her vision. So I started to feel like to follow her instructions because I had a feeling I was probably starting to screw with what she was doing. I was like, okay, no, I'll actually follow the instructions. Okay. Another thing, also plenty of pictures should appear now. Shit-faced Shakespeare. So I won't go into that many detail. You can listen to the Edfringe 2018 episode for that. This year they are coming back with Shit-faced Shakespeare M-word. Now, I'm not entirely sure why we always say the Scottish play and not the M-word. Well, Macbeth. But I figured, yeah, M-word, that's nice. We have words for everything. So
It's bad luck, apparently.
They are also Shit-Face Showtime, which is a musical version. So Alice Through the Cocktail Glass. So every day of the run at the Underbelly, Bristol Square, 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. I'd recommend to book from the Underbelly website because you can actually select your seats. And you can't really do that with the Edfringe website. Also, maybe pictures will appear of Colin Cloud, forensics mind reader, whose new show Sinful is at the Grand Pleasance Courtyard every day at 8 p.m. In 2017, he was really starting, so he was in a smaller, like way smaller venue, and then the year after that, as he sold everything out, like now he's in huge venues every time.
Very cool.
Luc Germain's Strange Power, also very nice. I don't think I've seen him at the Fringe ever. I don't have the info there, but that will be in the leaks anyway. Craig Ferguson, Hobo Fabulous. So essentially, one of the highlights of 2017 is he came back to Scotland to record his radio show live with people in the audience, and there was a very cool segment that get to know your Fringe audience, and the people would come and explain who they were, and it was just before we started the podcast. I had not really anything to promote, or so I was wondering when it was going to come back at some point. Well, it's coming back, but is for his first actually gig, like one-man show in 25 years in Scotland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that should be cool.
Yeah. And I talked also about binaural. So there's this company called Darkfield. 2 years ago, they came with, essentially, it's just outside of Summerhall in Glasgow every year. It's a maritime container into which, in the first year, 2017, they had a seance. The year after that, a flight that was called, so seance flight, and this year is coma. Essentially, it uses, so it's so small that all the sounds are actually, stuff are moving, and you enter with headsets. And I'm really curious to see how that will, it's always a blast every year, and they have so many dates that I don't think there is need to give you, like, if you look at the thing, there's like five different lines for this. Have not seen, but excited to, Adolf. So in our Bin Laden the one-man show episode with Sam Redway and Tyrell Jones, we learned about his Adolf show, and it's coming to Edfringe this year. Only 2 days, so act now. I think, let me just read it out. 11th and 12th of August. 1550. It was 3:50 every all those 2 dates. It lasts an hour, and that's 15 and 13 for concessions. Also, there is a troupe in the US called Improv Everywhere. They created the No Pants subway ride and multiple other fun experiences, including the MP3 experiment, which creates each year in New York City, and it's going global actually now, instant flash mobs with people all listening to the same instructions via a mobile app.
That's cool.
Last year and the year, I actually, looking at my old footage, I actually filmed some of that. I've seen some people at multiple times who were dancing like crazy in the streets of Edinburgh in a big group and with headsets on heads. It's actually a silent disco thing. So the major one is Guru Dudu, I think, and there are actually 2 other companies doing a similar thing during this year's Fringe. I'd book for Guru Dudu, so I'll see how that goes. Kudos to Sam and Tyrell, who were on the show to talk about the Bin Laden one-man show last year. I know I learned a lot in that episode and during the play. Mm-hmm. I think they are actually presenting their play in Australia right now, so they really they're not at the Fringe.
Up their game. Yeah. Very cool.
Some quick stuff which are not at the Fringe, but which I really liked. And those are in London, so if you're not, A Midsummer Night's Dream, fully immersive with interactive elements. Gwendolyn Christie is Titania and Hippolyta. It's at the Bridge Theatre until the end of August. Anti-Live will be filming on the 29th of August evening, when video rehearsals on the 28th matinee. I went there once, it's monumental. I'm going again twice. I'm going to try to steal the show.
Yeah, do it.
Pit and promenading tickets are just £25, so that's the best seats. Well, you're not seated, but in a house. Nicholas Hittner is a genius. I bow to you, sir. Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the World. That's the T-shirt I am donning right now. Until further notice, they are booking until October, but they want to make it a permanent thing. Kind of an Edinburgh dungeon experience. So live action with added VR and volumetric holograms and great music. It's around 60 pounds. And there is no need to do it a second time. Once is enough. And the dinner options are just preposterous, so there's no need. You just get the standard one. The Great Gatsby Immersive, on until September, costs almost nothing compared to some of the immersive experience I've done, around £25. Can be done plenty of times to actually experience the whole narrative. I asked the waiter at some point about if there were some cycling, and he said, well, we had a client who came 40 times, and after 20 he said, yeah, I've seen everything. Yeah, if you want to experience Shitface Shakespeare Hamlet, it's now possible. It's back, but in Leicester Square until mid-September. So go die on stage 2. You'll thank me later. Try to get a seat in the front row, house left. Or go twice and observe where the audience member is picked from and get that exact seat when you book next. That's what I did last year, 5 times.
Oh, wow.
And again, I can't thank PJ enough who was there to take the pictures, so there are proofs. Yes. Fiddler on the Roof, Playhouse Theatre until September. Best seat in a house, booked directly from ATG after I delayed going to see it like forever because I wasn't sure where to sit and all that stuff. But when I went to see Andy after Ghost Stories earlier this year, I asked him about that and then followed his advice. Some of the stall seats have been removed to create a path, and sitting close to that path is the way to go. If you have a look at my VR videos, I'll put that in the description, you'll see what I mean. Before the conclusion, I'll auto-plug my solo podcast again. Essentially, I turned 40 and I figured I would do a few things this year. Instead of chasing auditions and trying to sell myself as a product this year, I'll return to the fundamentals of learning and won't do that by reading plays, but actually experiencing them. In 1996, Branagh's Hamlet kickstarted this whole craziness, culminating in where I am today. But it was a cinematic experience. I did not realize I loved theater until ACS, basically, and how much I really, really love it since I'm on this quest now. Primarily, I'm doing this show to remember how I felt after these shows. I've decided to record my thoughts in a short-form Street of Consciousness style, and I've been doing that since March with Waiting for Godot, actually, and since then we had Aaron on the show, so that solo episode might be a bit outdated, but still valid. Essentially, as I'm doing this for me, I will survive if only a man and his dog are listening to it. It is also another channel to talk about this podcast we're doing here. There's a real synergy here. I'm releasing season 1 all in one block at the end of July because I want to see if this will get the podcast in a famous new and noteworthy category. We did not think about that when we started podcasting in 2017, but it's apparently still a thing. Having multiple episodes at launch and be very active in the first 8 weeks of your podcast, which is also why I'll release season 2 on a daily or weekly basis, focusing on the Fringe shows I talked about and more. We'll see how this all turns out. And it also a transformative experience because the making of this new show requires significantly less tech, workflow, and time, and I actually don't need to coordinate with you guys to find the adequate time to record an episode. And if I'm being honest, I used to get frustrated sometimes, but now that's not criticism, that's not entirely fair, we all have things to do. Just telling you that I have a renewed enthusiasm to do this here with you now. And now that I know that I have something on the side to keep me occupied when it's a bit slow here.
Wow, Yann's having an affair to realise how much he loves us. Wow.
Fair enough.
Jesus.
Totally fair enough.
One last warning about my solo show. So be aware that my opinions are my own and I will not apologize to a mob ever. If you have a personal issue, come on the wooden path with me for a moment and we'll have a civilized chat. I'm telling you this because I probably will get hate mail for one specific episode, episode 5, Admissions, which was led by Alec Kingston, and whose central subject is affirmative action.
Mm-hmm.
To conclude, because I'm an idiot sometimes, it's quite rare. I'm rather brilliant most of the time, but it happens every day that I will book a few shows which conflict with some others I've booked before. To be fair to me, the Edfringe website is not smart enough to detect conflicts, which the website for the Avignon Off is able to do so. And there is also the 2-for-1 ticket scheme. So essentially, I am left with a few tickets for you guys. I asked our patrons first. They got what they wanted. Now I have... I have these. So just shoot me a personal message on Instagram and we can organize. Essentially... I have a ticket for one production of Hamlet on the 5th of August, 11 a.m. Bull, 6th of August, 12:25. There are 2 productions of Bull this year, but this is just one. Adolf, if that ticket doesn't end in one of my co-host hands, but we're all busy doing stuff, so we can't know. It's in August, and we're in June, July. So 11th of August, 3:50. Adolf. Quintessence and Caliban's Codex. That is for the 2-for-1. These are Emily's shows. So I have one ticket for the 1:20 and 7:15 p.m. Here. And Walls and Bridges, Monday, 5th of August, 1:20. So just shoot me a PM on MP or whatever, a message on Instagram. And And to really conclude... apologies to some performers I've been to see in 2017, whom I actually interviewed but never used the footage, essentially because it was the exact time the podcast started. Only one, Tom Taylor, is actually performing at the Fringe this year, and here is what his show is all about.
Hello.
Hello.
So, who are you?
My name is Tom Taylor. I'm currently dressed ready to perform as Charlie Montague and a series of other silly characters from the 1930s as part of a Charlie Montague mystery at The Man with the Twisted Hip, which starts in any second now. Good. Oh, God. Did that boom pick up on? Yes, so the first murder has already happened.
Okay, can you give a bit more details about the shows? Because you have 2 shows.
Yeah, I have 2 shows. So I came up with a show called The Games Afoot Try the Fish last year, which sold out and had a really nice run, so I decided to come back this year and do it again, which has this 1930s sort of bumbling, rakish aristocrat as the main character, Charlie Montague. And then I've written a new story for him where Charlie's in an art gallery. So that's completely new for this year. So I'm as excited as everyone else is to find out who did it come the end.
Awesome. How's been your Fringe experience so far?
I've really enjoyed it. It's been very busy. I think somebody once told me that the way you enjoy your Fringe is just to do as much as possible. And that's what I've tried to do. So I do a stand-up show every lunchtime, and then I come and do a show at 3 o'clock every day, and then a show at 5 o'clock every day. So that's pretty much my life. And then I go home, have a bath, and fall asleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
But okay, thank you very much.
No, that's okay.
All the best for the rest of your Fringe.
Oh, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Also, Samantha Baines, who is not at the Fringe for an awesome reason. She is, are you ready? The host for Magic Mike Live at the Hippodrome Casino, Leicester Square.
Oh, lucky girl.
Wow, okay.
Until this October, yes.
Very cool.
That was her video for her show.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
So, who are you?
I'm Samantha Baines, and I'm a comedian and actress doing my show at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Okay, what's your show about?
My show is called One Woman, a High Flyer and a Flat Bottom, and it's about the lost women of science. So I've researched some forgotten women from history who I think were amazing and kind of challenged stereotypes and led the way, and I talk about them and kind of raise awareness of them in my show.
Awesome. And how's your Fringe experience been so far?
The Fringe is really great. I come every year. It's maybe my 7th or 8th year. I'm a glutton for punishment. And no, I've had a really nice time. The run has almost sold out, so that's lovely. And I've had really nice audiences. And also it's such a creative place because there's so many performers, and I've seen loads of other great shows as well.
Well, thank you very much. And, well, all the best for the rest of the run then.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
And Rick Carranza, who since the video that you're going to see has launched a podcast called The Geekatorium, which can be enjoyed at any time. But I'm quite, I must say I'm a bit bummed, but he's taking a year off, it's fine. That he's not there because he was doing the Star Wars versus Star Trek debates, and he's explained that in the video. That was really, both these shows were just fantastic.
Well, hello.
Hello.
So, who are you?
Wow. I'm Rick Carranza. I'm a guy who decided that 2 shows a day at the Fringe would be a good idea. I don't know why I did that, but I'm Rick Carranza. Hello.
So what are your shows about?
So I've got 2 shows. I have my panel show, which is Rick Carranza presents Star Trek versus Star Wars. It's a live action. It's a live debate between 2 comedians over which franchise is better, Star Trek or Star Wars. The other one I do is called Rick Carranza, I'm a Fan. It's a storytelling comedy show which takes my life and interweaves my experiences with the TV series Star Trek through it. And it's a celebration of being a fan.
Well, sounds awesome. Well, actually it is, because I've been to both, and really,
thank you very much.
I enjoyed both.
Excellent.
So how's been your experience at the Fringe so far?
It's been great. It's been, like, I've just had the greatest time. The audiences have been really friendly. I've just enjoyed sort of meeting up with people. I've got a lot of friends who come to the Fringe, like performers. I don't see them for the rest of the year, so it's just nice being here. But no, overall, I've really enjoyed this year.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Rick.
No worries, man.
All the best with the rest of the month, then.
Okay, no worries. Thank you for having me. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And Catherine Duquette, whose video, you'll see it was called Insta Love 2 years ago, and I was not used to all those immersive and interactive stuff at the time. So when I said I was a bit shy and I didn't want to go the first day for Emily Omelette and Experience, because I could see when I arrived that there were not that many people. So I was like, it's quite, I'm a bit, I don't know about this. Essentially, this Catherine Duquette show is dating on stage. It's kind of an interactive thing. Wow. And I went there, and I interviewed her afterwards, but I was like, essentially, there were only 4 people in the room, so you had no way to escape going on participating. So I was a bit like, but yeah.
Fair enough. Sounds intense.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
So, who are you?
I'm Catherine Duquette. I am the creator of Insta Love, an interactive dating game. Yes, here at the Fringe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What's your show about?
Okay, Insta Love is, as I said, an interactive show in which I perform 4 different versions of myself and I date the audience. The audience decides who wins and who loses, and it quickly turns into kind of a voyeuristic, very honest questioning of why we do relationships, and the audience asks themselves these questions up on stage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How's been your experience at this Fringe so far?
Marvelous. It's my very first Fringe, so I had a lot of peers telling me how intense the experience would be and how committed and dedicated I had to be to flyering and just getting out to meeting people. I've been overwhelmed by the supportive community of the Fringe, and it's a lot of fun. It's something that I can see myself doing every year.
Well, thank you very much. I'm just out of one of the shows. It was a bit intense for me, but yeah, I liked it. It was very well put out.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
So, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck with the rest of the Fringe.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
Shout out also to my magician's friends, Aaron and Sam, who are, I think they have a permanent thing in Manchester now, so they're not at the Fringe. I'm not entirely sure what I've done with your footage, guys, but I love you nonetheless. And you're not at the Fringe anyway, so... I think that is what I wanted to say for that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Were there some incredible things that you've seen that we talked about in the previous Fringe episodes or not that you want to launch at the world? Because I said it was my conclusion, but
Yeah. Actually, this year, because I'm also rehearsing while I'm at the Fringe, it's very difficult for me to book stuff. So I decided to, because I'm performing at 11, so I'm there by the end of the week. and I'll be rehearsing in Glasgow. But I'm hoping to go as much as possible because last year I didn't make it, and I'm hoping to see as much as possible, but without any research. So that will be interesting because I'm nervous that if I research and then I can't go, that will make it more upsetting. So I'm going to go and try and sort of just like jump into any show that we've got time to see.
Yeah. This year I won't have appendicitis, so I'll enjoy it more.
Yeah, that was also a problem last
I'm also
year.
waiting to see if there's any additions for stuff left. I know it's getting late in the day. Also, this is July, so that might have happened by now. So we'll see what happens. I might be in it, might not, but I'll go and I quite like doing the whole walking and the flyering thing, see what impresses me sort of deal, rather than research, but that's just me.
There was a bit of a kerfuffle conundrum thing happening last year. You had this, and then we were considering strongly to do the podcast as a show with the Pre-Edfringe, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And
a lot of stuff happened.
Considering it was a good thing because we would have had troubles towards the end with you not being able to make it.
Oh, I know. That was
very true
terrible.
too. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all over, and I'm sure we'll talk about what we kind of stumbled on after we've been...
Sorry.
No, I was done.
No, sorry, in the 2019 episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is this a lager I see before me? Is there a line, the police here should face the M-word?
Brilliant. That's definitely something that I want to see. I haven't done it yet, and which is a bit bad because it's talked about all the time, and Yann definitely like hails it in high regard. So yeah, we'll definitely try and see that.
Well, try, yeah.
The only issue is that it's so late that you have to stay in Edinburgh. Like it's 11 p.m.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably why we didn't. Yeah. Okay.
So essentially, they rewrite completely the plays. The Hamlet one was just fantastic to include audience members, and again, dying as Polonius in front of 800 people was magical, and dying in a way smaller setting with Emily was also great. But yeah, what was it? It's late. Oh yeah, they rehearsed because they're all classically trained, right? That's the thing. And there is one which is one actor which is classically smashed with alcohol before.
Smashed, yeah.
Yeah, completely classically shit faced. That's the thing.
Such a great idea. I mean, it's one of those ideas where it's like it's so simple, and you wish that you came up with it, but it's also so out there that it's like, well, of course we didn't. Like, that's just so genius.
And they get to that level, the alcohol thing, when they're on site, because essentially the play is, so Hamlet is usually 4 hours. It's been reduced to 45 minutes. They rehearse 45 minutes, and the show is actually an hour. So they have 15 minutes to deal with all the stuff that happens thanks to the drunk.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, 4 hours sounds a bit intense to do. I understand that.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're good.
Wrapping up.
Cool. Half an hour. Cool. Without the with just us, so it'll be a bit more with the videos.
Yeah.
But thank you again for listening. I don't know if you've noticed the Troika leftover change poster there.
Yeah. We'll always held back to 2016.
Yeah.
Good times.
Okay, thanks. Next episode, I don't know what it will be, but hopefully the previous one was L'aile ou la cuisse. It's funny, I did the streaming with some updates on Instagram, and the following day my uncle was like, did I hear L'aile ou la cuisse? Did I hear that properly? Yes, you did.
Yes, you
and
did.
It's actually been in the can since January.
Yeah.
It's too painful, obviously, to edit.
Yeah, well, in that Wing of Thigh episode, there are some outdated stuff when we talk about Cecile's work, but we've updated that in that episode, so we're good.
Yeah.
Thanks again for listening, and
Thank
we'll
you.
see you Next time, bye-bye. We were
Adam.
Anouk.
And Yann. Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Good, the Bad and the Just Plain Standard podcast. If you like what you heard, you can leave us a review via iTunes. If you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Good, Bad, Standard Podcast on both platforms. If you fancy seeing the live streams that we talk about in the podcast, they can be found on youtube.com. You search for Milk in a Wineglass. There are other bits and bobs on there too, just to see what Yann's up to during the week. And if you really like us, like really, really like us, why don't you head on over to patreon.com/goodbadstandardpodcast and have a look if you want to support us. Any small donation is appreciated.
Hi, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hi.
So, who are you?
So we're Naive Theatre. My name's Sam Redway and this is Tyrrell Jones. And together we're Naive Theatre and we've co-written the Bin Laden the One-Man Show. I am Bin Laden and Tyrrell directed.
Great. So what's the show about exactly? Can you do kind of a pitch or something?
It is the one man. It's the story of Bin Laden told by one man. He sits you down, makes you a cup of tea, and blows your mind. And it's the twist is that, of course, Bin Laden is played by a white blonde guy. He's really charming and English. So the audience have totally different judgments when listening to his story than they might if he had a massive beard and a turban and so on. So we tell Bin Laden's story from his perspective.
Awesome. Awesome. So we're at the Fringe Festival, Edinburgh. How's been your experience so far?
It's amazing. Edinburgh's a bit of a homecoming this year for the Bin Laden show. We opened in 2013. We did the Edinburgh Fringe then, and we've been away for 4 years, and we've come back to this one. Tyrrell's done a lot more of Edinburgh Fringe than I have.
Yeah, it's always exhausting. It's always really, really hard work. Just selling the show is always such hard work, especially at the beginning. We're hoping that we're going to be able to enjoy some of it soon. Things are starting to settle in a little bit. We're starting to get some good houses. We nearly sold out tonight, so hopefully that means maybe in about a week or so we might be able to have a drink.
Yeah,
you reckon we're both teetotal until we break even, and so we're hoping to be able to have a drink pretty soon. I don't know how long we're going to have to wait. We're also hoping to see some shows soon. We haven't seen a single show yet. We've just got to get this sorted, and then we can start seeing shows once it's going well. So it's been hectic, it's been mad. You can hear my voice is a little bit frayed. I've been shouting about this show all up and down the Royal Mile all day. I'm the one who shouts because I only have to press the buttons when the show comes, so it doesn't matter if I lose my voice. I usually have a very nice voice. It's got a lovely timbre. Now I feel like a kind of, I don't know what.
Tom Waits.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I wanted to show I liked it very much.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much.
Anything you want to send out in the world to conclude?
Hard.
Wow, what do we want to say? Come and see theatre, which is about engaging with people around us and the big ideas and where we're going and what it is to be in a political society with other people. The only way we can make a world better is by engaging with stuff together, live. So come and see theatre and come and see political theatre. That's what I want to say.
Sam, anything to add?
Basically sums it up.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Come see Bin Laden.
Bin Laden, the one-man show. It's extremely politically non-correct, and it's fun, and it's well performed, well written, well directed, and I recommend highly.